The NHL is the best ice hockey league in the world. It was initially made out of the original 6 teams from Boston, Toronto, Montreal, Detroit, Chicago, and New York. With the expansion era that started in 1967, we saw the teams come up to 31, with the 32nd team from Seattle joining the league in 2021. Throughout the decades, we saw multiple NHL strikes, where the players fought for their rights. The biggest lockout was in 2005, where the players fought against the salary cap restrictions. In the last decades, we also saw a big argument against the Olympics, because in the recent years, the NHL banned their players from participating in the Olympics. As a response, the NHL created its own version, with the World Cup of Hockey, where 6 teams made out of players from all over the world fight for the World Cup before the season starts. Also, there's lots of movement downwards to the American Hockey League and the ECHL, and it's much harder than one might think to earn a one-way NHL contract. Today's interview will be with Cal Petersen from the LA Kings. It will be very interesting to hear how he made his way to the NHL, following a career in the USHL, NCAA, and the American Hockey League. Hi Cal, thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so the first question will be, could you explain your junior and pro hockey career for us, please?
Yeah, so I first started playing minor hockey in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, Chicago. So I traveled around quite a bit to play because I'm from Iowa, and Iowa doesn't have a lot of hockey. And so I had to travel quite a bit. And then I got drafted to the USHL, which is like the top league before college, and played for the Waterloo Blackhawks, which was actually in my hometown in Iowa. So I got to live at home. And then after that, I went to the University of Notre Dame and played there for 3 years, and had a lot of fun there. Made a bunch of friends, as college hockey is awesome. And then after that, I played with the Ontario Reign in the American Hockey League, which is like the step below the NHL. And then the next 2 years got called up a few times, and then like this past year I was able to get called up and stay up there for good. So that's where I've been. I was able to end it up in Los Angeles, so I'm just looking forward to next year.
So how did you get your first contacts to the NHL teams? And did you have an agent or advisor throughout the years?
Yeah, so I had a family advisor when I was playing junior hockey and looking towards where I was going to play for college. So it was a guy that like kind of sought me out. He was from Chicago, and I was playing in Chicago at the time, and I was like 14, and he seemed like a really solid guy, and he was actually Thomas DePauli's coach when he was playing in Chicago. So there was a little bit of a connection there, and he was just kind of a guy that helped set up some visits for when I was going to go to college and talk to the coaches for me. And then once I decided to go to Notre Dame, he kind of helped me set up that and facilitate the decision. And then once I was in college, I was already drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, so I had an option of signing with them or being able to sign with another team. So my agent kind of helped talk to other teams and see who was interested, and I was able to kind of travel around and visit other places and see which team fit the best, and LA fit. And so he was kind of the guy that talked to the general managers and helped me make an informed decision.
Oh, okay, so was it always the same agent or advisor, or did you change advisors when you turned pro?
No, same guy. So same guy since I was 14. So he's been with me kind of all the way up, and we have a really good relationship, and I trust him, and he's a really good family man. So it's definitely important, when you're younger. I know some guys have switched or whatever, but when you're younger, finding the right guy that cares about you and that you're going to be with the long haul, and not just somebody that's trying to latch onto your career.
So now we see that you took the NCAA route to go to the NHL. And how come you took this decision instead of going the CHL way?
Yeah, so I had a chance to go to the London Knights when I was about 15 or 16, and I went up there for a camp and didn't play any exhibition games or anything, just skated for a little bit. And it was either that or go back and play juniors in Waterloo and have a chance to go to the NCAA. And I just figured as a goalie, it takes a lot longer for you to kind of reach your true potential. And so I thought that I was going to need a lot longer than just 21 to be able to make it to pros. So I thought it was a good thing to go to college when I was 20, and I was able to leave when I was 23. And I had basically an extra 2 years to develop before turning pro, rather than being 21 and have to go pro if I went to the junior leagues.
And yeah, now looking back, are you happy to have taken this decision?
Oh yeah, I think going the NCAA route was like the best decision of my life. I think going to play at Notre Dame was the best decision of my life. Other than making so many more friends than you probably would if you just went to a junior team. You get to be a part of something just bigger than hockey and bigger than your just individual team, and be part of a school, and then at the same time, get a degree and put a lot of value in your education. So when hockey's over, you have a chance to step back into the real world and be able to make a positive difference and an impact in the community and have your education.
So when you finally signed with the LA Kings, did you know that you were going to the American Hockey League first? And did they tell you how long it will take till you get to the NHL? Or is that a game time decision that you don't know when it happens?
Yeah, so when I signed with LA, I knew going in, there's obviously just 2 spots with the Kings, so I was going to have to go down to the American League and get a lot of games and some experience under my belt. And they said usually probably 1 year or 2 years in the American League, and then I would have a chance to play in the NHL. And it was actually basically the beginning of my second year where I got my first opportunity to play in the NHL, and I was able to be up for a couple months, and I played 11 games and kind of got my feet wet and was able to realize that I could play and be successful in the NHL. And then I had to go back down to the AHL because the guys I went up were hurt when I first got up. So then I would be, so they were healthy and I had to go down and play some more games. And then this past year they made a trade to make some room for me to come up to the NHL. So I was able to kind of find my way in a permanent spot and have a chance to play a lot more games until the virus shut down the season.
And is there a big hockey and lifestyle change from the AHL to the NHL?
Yeah, so with hockey, the American Hockey League is kind of a little bit more chaotic. It's full of guys that are obviously trying to make a name for themselves and try and have a chance to make it to the NHL. And, the problem is sometimes you have a really good team and then you have 4 guys get called up, like your 4 best players, and you're not able to have as good a team anymore. And sometimes you kind of have to battle on and off with that. But it's a really good league for like goalies to learn and play a lot of really good games and have a chance to learn how to win hockey games and make the step after college. And then when you get to the NHL, I would say the players are obviously a lot better, but you have a lot better defensemen too. So guys don't have as much time to make plays or shoot the puck or anything. But when they get those opportunities, they have a chance to put it in a smaller area than the guys in the AHL. And then obviously, when you're up in the NHL, everything's first class, 5-star hotels, 5-star meals. So it makes you want to stay up there. And when you go back down, it makes you want to, get back up there even more. So once you get a taste of it, it's hard to leave.
So now you finally arrived in the NHL. Is there a big difference in being a full-time NHL player? Whereas maybe when you're a bubble player in the American Hockey League, you never know if you have to move and so on. So now it's time for you to settle down, get a nice place and so on, right?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you have, when guys are moving around a lot and you're shuttling back and forth from team to team. Luckily, the American Hockey League team and the NHL team are both in Los Angeles. So I was able to just live in the same spot when I was down in the American League or up in the NHL. But you obviously, you get paid a lot more money when you're in the NHL. So was able to get a nice spot on the beach. But I can only rent right now because it's so expensive to live out there, and so I need a couple more years in the league before I'm able to buy on the beach. But right now it's a ton of fun. It's a really fun lifestyle, and I'm really fortunate to live in Los Angeles and have a chance to play hockey there.
And what about the actual daily life in the NHL? Can you explain a typical week for you?
Yeah, so usually we'll just have practices in the morning, and I live like 10 minutes away from the practice rink, so I'll be able to get up and then go to the rink, and we usually have breakfast at the rink. We get a workout in, some meetings, and then we go on the ice for about an hour or so, and then usually come back for another workout, and we're served lunch at the rink again, and then we're able to leave and go home. So, and then after that, I usually like to go for like a bike ride kind of by the beach, or maybe take a nap. I always try and spend a little bit of time outdoors every day, especially when it's so nice. And then like whenever we leave for games, we fly out of a little private airport right by LAX, and we're able to have our own plane, and get a chance to kind of fly private, and there's food on the plane and sushi and different things, so we're pretty spoiled on the plane. But then you get to wherever we're flying to, and you get to check into a really nice hotel, and things are pretty similar, but you don't the games are so close together that usually you're flying in the night before, and then you have pregame skate the next morning, and then the game at night.
And now, actually being an NHL player, is it much different than one might dream of when he's a kid or a junior hockey player? And is there any surprise that you think maybe something is actually different than you thought it would be?
Yeah, I mean, I think every day is kind of a new experience, and I've always tried to just take it one day at a time. It's definitely, I think, just as cool as I thought it was going to be, and probably even more so, because it's just one of those things that I only thought was a dream at one point. So now that it's kind of a reality, it's so much fun, and I'm just trying to soak it in every day. And I don't know, probably the best part is just the guys that you look up to playing hockey, the superstars, the guys that you get to play against every day. Like, they're just regular guys at the end of the day. They're really funny, they're really good guys, they treat you well, and I think sometimes you have to stop and realize that you're playing in the same league as them, and you're at the same par, so it kind of pushes you to be better, and to try and get to their level. And then it's just fun to play against the best every single day.
Yeah, and the off season, how is it structured in the NHL? Is everybody on his own? Like, do you have to manage your off season training and so on? Or does the team really impose strict training plans and so on?
Yeah, so you usually have exit meetings, and the team will kind of give you some guidelines of what they want you to see improve on over the summer and going into next year. And then our strength and conditioning coaches, we have an app that all of our workouts are on, and so we're able to follow all the workouts on there during the summer. And so the past couple of summers, I have a gym up here that has a program with a bunch of other professional players that we kind of follow through. But this year is different because all the gyms are closed. So I'm back in Minnesota right now, and I was lucky. I have a house with a gym in here, so I was able to get a bunch of equipment and basically just do the workout that the Kings sent me on the app. So it's just that, and then I have a goalie coach that I work with from time to time that works with other pro guys up here. So we're able to get some skates together and do that. But usually between the end of the season and training camp, each guy is kind of on their own, except for the guys that stay in LA and train back at the facility.
So yeah, that was it, Kel. Thank you again for being here with us today.
Yeah, no problem. It's awesome. I appreciate you having me on.